All right. Welcome back to our live stream with Society X and Blockchain DXB. I'm your host for the most of the time here in Sunnyside, Dubai, and have the one and only George from Blockchain DXB. He raised some blaze on everything crypto and blockchain. You know what time it is. So yeah, let's get into it.
Good to see you, brother. And before we kickstart today's episode, I just want to say belated happy birthday, Markose. Thank you so much for doing everything.
Thank you.
The cryptocurrency and blockchain space and helping a lot of founders in the space. So I hope you have an absolutely great birthday and have a great weekend as well. Now I wanted to start.
I'm looking forward to it.
Now I wanted to touch base on what did actually happen since the conversation that we had last Thursday. Now there was a healthy debate. It wasn't a healthy debate, but the debate was essentially between Trump and Biden. Now, I'm not sure if the listeners did actually go and watch it or not. I watched it live. Unfortunately, Markose, there was no questions regarding Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies in that debate. And I wasn't expecting Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies to be brought up as well. But it would have been great, probably for the very first time in any US presidential election. They did actually bring up some points regarding cryptocurrency and donation. Now, post the debate, there are quite a lot of donations flowing in for President Donald Trump. Now, Winklevoss brothers, they have donated. Initially what happened is that they donated, I believe, $2 million each. But there is a limit as to how much funds can be donated to President. And President Trump's team, they had to give $1 million back to each of the brothers. And along with that, the former CEO of Kraken and the founder of CEO, I think it is Jesse, he had donated $1 million of his personal funds as well. So it looks like a lot of people, at least in Twitter space, were not happy about it. But regarding Biden, I'm not sure if he's gotten any donation. But so far as politics and cryptocurrency is concerned, they are having a roundtable conference that is done at Washington, D.C. So that is essentially what news regarding politics and cryptocurrency and blockchain adoption is concerned. What are your thoughts regarding politics merging with cryptocurrency? And I'm not sure if our listeners know, but today in UK there's elections coming up as well.
And, okay. That's okay. That's something new. That I'm not honestly with the UK. I'm not that familiar. I'm sorry to all my British brethren, out there. Apologies for my ignorance. Partly because I never got a chance to really cover that region. And also because I'm a full-blooded Texan, I just don't care. So, I know. That's kind of like a mean, mean statement, but I'm just messing with you guys. I love you guys. I was supposed to answer the question, right, regarding the politics stuff. Now, you know what? If you're in the crypto space, I would say this. Whether you buy your first crypto, you buy your first Bitcoin, we all are making financial decisions, economic decisions. We are voting with our money. In many ways, if you're getting into crypto, whether you like it or not, it is a political decision. It doesn't matter. It's an American thing or it's like a Russian thing, or maybe an Australian thing, but really it's any country you're in. So you're making a decision on your future, So, and I think I remember it just slips my mind. I don't know why. Maybe I'm getting older, man, George. But when it comes to politics, there are two kinds of people. You have the folks who want to be left alone. Like I would say, majority of our folks who we know, they want to be left alone. They want to do their own thing. They're not trying to harm anybody. They're following the NAP principle, or what I call the non-aggression principle. That's more like a libertarian thing, which we'll dive in later. But then there are a small group, I would call them politicians. They don't want to leave you alone. So how do you empower? I mean, I cannot think of anything else, maybe homesteading or whatever, but something that will empower you, that will give you the independence, that will give you the, sovereignty is actually crypto. So, there is a connection. There's definitely a connection with crypto and politics, especially U.S. politics. I think most Americans are still not aware of crypto actually, or or have a deep understanding. But sooner or later, they will really find out how powerful it is. Have the libertarians done a good job in marketing it? I would say okay, because generally libertarians are kind of the introvert kind of people, so they just assume great ideas will reach out to other people. But George, you know very well, you also follow politics too. You definitely need to uh, put those ideas out there. It's not, of course, it's not like marketing a product or service, but ideas for sure definitely needs some sort of public relations push or marketing push in some form or other. So, anyways, that's my take.
The only thing I can say is, at a macro level, when you talk about politics merging with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin's goal rather is separation of money and the state. When will that thing happen? When will that thing happen? I really am not sure. But at a macro level, when you talk about right-wing ideologies, they're definitely in favor of Bitcoin, open source, cryptocurrencies, and even less governance. But so far as left-leaning administration, at least now, they are definitely not in favor of Bitcoin cryptocurrency adoption. They want more control over your money, and that these are the guys who often focus on central bank digital currency. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in this particular election. Because look, when the US coughs, the entire world has pneumonia, whether we like it or not. Now, keeping that thing in mind, one reason why I do feel, Marcus, the price, especially since the last 24 to 48 hours, has actually gone down. There is a report which is published by the Federal Reserve Board, that is the annual report, and which essentially states how the US economy is doing. And the IMF has actually met with Federal Chair Jerome Powell, and they are actually suggesting that the Federal Reserve Board to strengthen the economic policies, and they are asking to reduce the expenditure and boost revenues. Now, so far as Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is concerned, they've also said that not to go ahead and increase the interest rate hike. Now, how it works, Marcus, is pretty simple. Now, theory is different to what happens in real life. Let me explain what happens in real life. In real life, let's say when Federal Chair Jerome Powell decides to reduce the interest rate hike, that is when the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency increases. If they increase the interest rate hike, the prices of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency goes down, and if it keeps it the same, like he has been doing most of 2024, sometimes the prices tend to fluctuate. Most of the time it tends to go up. But what the IMF has recommended Federal Chair Jerome Powell to do is not to increase the interest, or not to reduce the interest rate hike, Now again, this goes back to politics. From a political point of view, not reducing the interest rate hike is absolutely bad for the Biden administration, which means that the economy is not doing good. What it means for crypto is that the prices may not be pumping up. So, if Jerome Powell decides to keep the interest rate the same, the prices will probably remain the same, might even go down. In theory, it should be exactly the opposite, Marcus. If, let's say, Federal Chair Jerome Powell does decide to go and reduce the interest rate hike, ideally speaking, that should be the time the prices of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency should go down, because people are actually believing in traditional finance. They are believing in the value of the US dollar. So why focus on, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies? Conversely, the prices, if Jerome Powell decides to go ahead and, let's say, increase the interest rate hike, that is the time people should feel that traditional finance in US dollar is not doing that great. Let me go ahead and buy Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. It might happen. It might take a couple of decades for that thing to happen. So for our listeners, the next day to keep an eye on is the 30th of July. 30th and 31st of July, that is when the next FOMC meeting takes place. So on 31st of July, he's going to make a decision to go ahead and, let's say, keep the interest rate hike, reduce it, or go ahead and increase it. But if people are wondering why the prices have gone down miserably since the last 24 hours, that is the reason why.
Wow, okay. Yeah. No, because I think last couple of days, I was just kind of like perusing to different crypto content and stuff. So do check out what the other influencers talking about. So they haven't shared your sentiment, I would say, but I think there'll be again. I think most of the YouTubers out there don't really dive into the economics, the game theory, and also I don't blame him, because if you check out the Federal Reserve and all their documents and stuff, it's the the most boring documents ever. I mean, and they purposely do that. So I don't blame him. So, and again, unfortunately, most of our audience too, it's not that they're not intelligent and anything like that. It's just that they don't have the time to go through all that stuff. It's and that has been quite challenging. But I do appreciate you, George, for like really covering this stuff up, because and because I definitely, I've been sort of, during my days in college and stuff, slightly been indoctrinated, I guess. But I just had a hard time with dealing with the realities. Like, hold on, wait a minute. We were taught this, but we are seeing something else. Something doesn't make sense. I think one of the first things I kind of realized was when I was living in Texas. One of the most important indicators was lumber. Reason is that most of the houses in the United States are made with lumber, with wood, compared to what you see in Dubai. It's all concrete. So started to see some weird pricing, shortages, a lot of concerns like with lumber. So from then on, like, it kind of like made me kind of curious, like, hold on, wait a minute, like, something's not right. So, and plus also I had a good professor too, who's into carpentry, so that helped. But still, I was not that smart or whatever. But I guess I had I had that consciousness or awareness, like, wait a minute, some of the numbers don't play. It's not making sense, or so. But yeah, so from there, connecting to what's happening with the Federal Reserve, I guess all roads, whether in the United States or any part of the world, all roads, they're saying like, all roads lead to Rome. In the financial world, all roads lead to the Federal Reserve. So,
true. Very, very true.
Just want to share this.
What I'd really recommend, what listeners to do is, rather than listening to, YouTube influencers or even checking out articles regarding the Federal's decision, keeping in mind cryptocurrency is concerned, listen to Federal Chair Jerome Powell when he goes live, because he goes ahead and gives an explanation as to why he's gone ahead and made a decision. And then there is back and forth question and answer session as well. And yes, they do ask questions about how does racism impact inflation, and he was completely baffled at the person asking the question. He was like, what do you mean racism and inflation? So, that's to know the impact of, fake news media asking irrelevant questions regarding inflation. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but I gotta say this, like, inflation doesn't care about your skin color or anything like
exactly,
that. It doesn't care about your gender pronouns. It doesn't care about your what do you say? Your skin color or religion or whatever. We all are affected. So
one of the questions
just
you're absolutely spot on. Because one of the questions, I think it was definitely she was some CNN. She asked, do you think things like racism and critical race theory has an impact on inflation? And Federal Chair Jerome Powell's response was like, what? How can that have any impact? He actually did say, keeping that thing in mind, when during the 2016 to 20 era, the employment rate for black people was the highest. But it is an irrelevant question. And this is what happens, Marcus. What I tend to do is I look at when Jerome Powell goes live, I try to look at the prices of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Usually 3 to 4 hours after the announcement is when the prices tend to fluctuate, depending on what mainstream media puts out, which, to be honest, is a bit different to what the actual announcement by a FOMC meeting is. So, these are things you need to factor as well. Now, the next big thing, Marcus, look, 2024, I've always talked about there are 3 massive events that are scheduled to take place. The first one was the Bitcoin halving. The one before that, I believe, was the spot Bitcoin ETF. And finally, the US election. Now, we have a spot Bitcoin ETF approved. We have an Ethereum ETF to be approved. But now we have Solana ETF as well. And we did discuss this, roughly around 3 weeks ago.
We did. I know, right? Man, Man, you were spot on.
Yeah.
I have to congratulate myself.
100%. So we have a Solana ETF and VanEck, I'm sorry. They have gone in and applied for, Solana ETF. Now it's going to take 180 days for, since the application, and then we will find out. We will get a concrete answer whether a Solana ETF has been approved or not approved. Now, I don't see a reason as to why a Solana ETF will be declined, because an Ethereum ETF got approved. There is next to 100% or 90% chances, I would say, for a Solana ETF to be approved. Once that thing happens, what's to say a Dogecoin ETF next? I definitely do think there is a very high possibility of Dogecoin ETF.
I could say that, because there is, it has a lot, a large market cap, or extra large market cap in this case, and also volumes too. If you check on your CoinGecko and stuff, there's a lot of liquidity over there. So, and I guess for me, I would recommend someone, hey, if you want to look into like potential ETFs and stuff, check out companies like BitPay or any other payment processors, which ones they have listed on like to accept payments and stuff. So that would be your clue, I guess. It's not exact science. I know, don't crucify me on this, but it's just I don't know what's the right point. Just say a breadcrumb or something to kind of help you, with your investigation for the next, or prediction for the next ETF or something. So,
other than that, what I would recommend our listeners to do is, and this is only to do with ETFs that are connected to cryptocurrency and blockchain, is look at Bloomberg. And there are two analysts. One is James Safat and Eric Balkanis. These are the two guys to follow on Twitter, and they constantly provide updates regarding, spot Ethereum ETF or Bitcoin ETF. And Eric, I think it was Eric Balkanis who did actually state that he's definitely looking forward for a Solana ETF, and he did actually say that before an Ethereum ETF got approved as well. So I don't see a reason as to why Solana ETF will not be approved. Because Ethereum spot ETF got approved, I do think there's a next to 99 or maybe 90% chance for a Solana ETF. Now, so far as Dogecoin is concerned, there is no staking of service. So Dogecoin ETF approval definitely has a much higher chance than, let's say, a Solana ETF, at least in my opinion.
Fair point. Yeah.
Now,
that's a good point.
Let's talk about some drama between SEC. Because last week, Marcus, we talked about SEC did actually inform ConsenSys that they are not suing the Ethereum Foundation. But what happened is on Monday, they have decided to go and sue ConsenSys MetaMask platform. Now, this point of time, I'm sure the listeners know about MetaMask, isn't it? I think most of the listeners are already in the cryptocurrency and blockchain space. They would have already gotten, or they would have already used MetaMask by now, probably on a daily basis. But the SEC is going after MetaMask, and as much as I dislike saying this, Marcos, I think the SEC might be right, because just with MetaMask...
Oh, sacrilege! Sacrilege, George! Sacrilege!
ConsenSys has made roughly around $250 million. All they had to do is they had to just register it as with the right filings, and if they would have done that, then it would have been fine. The MetaMask would still operate, but because they did not file it, and they are talking about two things. One is unregistered broker, and one is, I believe, MetaMask swaps, and the second one is MetaMask staking. Now, both of these things, if you do follow the Howey test, I think it is black and white, Marcus. As much as I dislike saying it, I think SEC might be right.
I get it, yeah.
So, yeah.
No, sure, I guess so. Yeah, no, you're right. Honestly, it's not yet. You're right. And look, as much as I have a love and hate relationship with SEC, I think like if the SEC has a strong case against MetaMask, my conclusion would be for MetaMask and the SEC to settle.
Yeah.
So if the MetaMask has some good lawyers or whatever, good law firms, just like what Ripple or say EOS or even also Telegram, right? Back, their Gram token or whatever, just settle for a fine and, move on. Because, I just don't see the SEC as this, they're just protecting the incumbents. That's what it is. They're not protecting the American people and all that stuff. Like, if anyone believes that, I mean, you must be living under a rock or something. So, but for the cryptocurrency space, I see the SEC as the Oscars. So anytime you get sued by the SEC, for example, I'll use Eric Voorhees, one of the best Bitcoin OGs, in the same line as Roger Ver. I know some people don't like him, but hey, you know what? I don't care about your opinion. But hey, Eric Voorhees, he's twice has been sued by the SEC, so he's a twice award-winning SEC winner. So in my opinion, so anyone in the crypto out there, don't take SEC as sort of this super bad guy. I think it's a great privilege to have that that initials, just like Markose, Chentittha, MBA, Eric Voorhees or George R.A. George, SEC X2 or something. Why not?
And regarding ConsenSys office, I'm not sure, Marcus, if the office is still there. They used to have an office in Dubai Design District 3. And I'm not sure.
I believe, I could be wrong. I believe they moved their office to Global Village.
Oh, I see. You could be right, yeah.
The reason I say that is because, I know I just happened to look into some of the job descriptions and stuff. So location, they put Global Village, which I find it quite interesting. Of all places, Global Village, I would assume something like, DIFC, or maybe DMCC, I guess. Or maybe, Dubai Design District. I don't know. Yeah. So something off, but Global Village is totally off, but I could be wrong. But if anyone from ConsenSys is watching this, please do correct us. We love criticism. We love to be corrected. Please let us know so that, people who do listen to us are updated and at their best.
Yeah, I do remember visiting the office, and this was way back before. I think it was in 2016, immediately after the Bitcoin.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Even Ethereum was in the earlier stages, and there used to be weekly meetup events. It was purely focused on Ethereum. And that point of time, we were talking about what is the use case of so far as blockchain technology is concerned, which brings me to the next point, Marcos, regarding tokenization. Now, everyone I'm noticing via LinkedIn has become experts in tokenization. Now, so far,
I have also become an expert too, George. I mean, I can also.
This is the same trend which I'm observing regarding, NFTs. Everyone became experts on NFTs overnight. Now, in my Crypto and Coffee Date podcast, Marcos, that I released today, both the news has to do with tokenization. Now, just for our listeners, let me go ahead and very briefly touch base on tokenization on real-world assets. I don't think so it is a massive deal, because this is essentially what Ethereum was built for. So essentially, Marcus, let's say if you have a property in Burj Khalifa, and let's say it is 1,000 square feet, with tokenization, with security token offering, what you can do is you can essentially break down 1 feet by 1 feet, put it onto the open blockchain, and then sell the property. So in the near future, in an idealistic futuristic world, what a normal person can do is he can just buy 1 feet of a property in, let's say, Burj Khalifa. It is kind of similar to NFTs, but slightly different.
Yeah.
So far as tokenization is concerned, it can be broken down into smaller part. You can trade it on secondary markets, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
It is not a massive deal. This is something what is initially Ethereum was actually meant for. But the reason why there is exactly. I mean, the reason why people are talking so much about tokenization is pretty simple. And I've mentioned this thing probably 1,000 times in my Crypto and Coffee Date podcast since Bitcoin Spot ETF got approved, actually, because when the Bitcoin Spot ETF got approved, Larry Fink had an interview with CNBC, and listeners should go ahead and check it up on YouTube as well. The interview is only roughly around 6 or 7 minutes long, Marcus. And in that interview, he actually said he does not care much about the spot Bitcoin ETF approval. Rather, He's focusing more on tokenization. So this whole hype surrounding tokenization is only because of Larry Fink and BlackRock. Now, I just have one question, Marcus, and this is for our listeners. In the world of tokenization, you have to do your KYCs when it comes to real world assets. Let's say if you're doing real estate, or let's say if you're doing, let's say, even a car, an expensive car. The KYC and AML, how does it merge with, let's say, if it is built on open blockchain? And this again goes back to, why Bitcoin was created. Transactions should happen peer-to-peer. So far as real estate is concerned, let's say a real estate developer, he should be in a position to do tokenization where he can offer one fee to be sold directly to the buyer, not a middle person. Now, since the announcement by Larry Fink, I'm seeing so many companies trying to be the middle player. So when you talk about tokenization, you need to take a step back as to how Bitcoin works. It works peer-to-peer. So technically speaking, the developer should be able to sell that one feed directly to the buyer without the need for central intermediaries or entities. Now, these central intermediaries or entities, they will come into picture, and that's when the whole KYC, AML kicks in. How does it work with open blockchain? I really am not sure. Because what I'm doing is I'm looking at the profile of people, who are writing articles on tokenization as a future. They haven't gotten into cryptocurrency since more than 2 years. So I'm not sure. They've got a lot of funding and investment, which is great, but I don't understand how it will actually merge with an open blockchain. It will merge very well with a permission blockchain. And there is nothing called permission blockchain. The other word for that is software. You can do it in a centralized system. You don't need blockchain for that. You can create, let's say, a software like Microsoft Azure. Use the same cryptographic hashing algorithms and techniques. So that is essentially
You're right, George.
Is about tokenization. What are your thoughts, Marcus, regarding the whole tokenization narrative?
First of all, George, you're just making too much of sense, George. Please stop it. God damn, that's why I hate you, man. You just make too much of sense. All right, and especially marketers like me, like we're the ones who push this tokenization narrative out there, right? Because Daddy Larry Fink said it, we're like, let's do it. Let's put some Google ads, put some Facebook ads, just pump that paid ad stuff, and created this PR stunt all over the place, So anyway, sorry, I was trying to go with the crazy flow, but you're right. I guess in terms of with open source, something like Ethereum, or like public blockchain, then you got the permission ones, which you're right to say it. Technically, it is a software. You don't need, you don't need blockchain for that. You could use blockchain, make it centralized or whatever, play with the marketing, the wordings and all that stuff. But I think it all comes down to just the regulation side of things. I guess it's possible to do it on a public blockchain. But the bureaucracies, they would have to be, they have to let loose, not get too strict about it, and let the free market really decide how this thing is going to work and stuff. And I think ideally for developers just to have a direct relationship with the buyers, would love to see them use a public blockchain for that, So than to have this complicated middle layer to do all this KYC, KYB, KYT, kind of stuff. So that's going to be quite. Honestly, that's my thing. It is going to be quite complicated, and it's just. I just see another extra cost that's going to be passed down to the individual, to the customers, to the buyers. So I don't know, because it just made me think of just recently. I think I know we're going to cover the local news. It just reminded me. I just saw this article with Mantra Blockchain. Partnering with Mag Group. Why that kind of caught my attention is actually my dad. Now, just a little just to give you guys an info that I'm not bullshitting, like, my dad was in the auto parts business, and the Mag Group started in auto parts. So, and the founder of Mag Group, he used to work in the British embassy or the British consulate in Dubai. He was like kind of like a peon or like one of the office boys.
Clerk,
this is like clerk, like back in the old days. So, that's what kind of caught my attention. I remember my dad was telling me about it. So I don't know and I doubt, the chairman of Mag Group is going to watch this or whatever. But anyone who's working in the Mag Group, if you happen to know the chairman of the Mag Group, I think he will know Verghese Philip in the autopod space. So, which is quite interesting to see, because definitely these guys, they made their money in autopods, but they made big money in real estate. So, congratulations to them. But I thought it was quite interesting to see these guys to try to tokenize real estate. So I'm kind of like curious. I guess I'm kind of curious about, because I definitely seeing a lot of folks, which is good. Look, I don't blame people getting into the tokenization narrative, because partly a lot of the VCs are pushing it, and also in terms of generally a lot of people in the space too. They have to play with the trends. They have to play with the narrative. Either you go with the trends, or you be the black sheep or the bad boy of crypto, right? Go against the narrative and stuff. So, I guess that is why we are seeing this thing right now. So, so in terms of tokenization, I guess for open source or public blockchain, I would love that to happen. And I think, and I do remember like 2017 or something, like there was all this conversation. There were like these real estate events in Dubai talking about blockchain, because I remember one of my friends in high school, he reached out to me. He was attending one of the, I don't think it was EMAR, but it was some other companies, some other developers. They had this conversation of blockchain, how they are going to get real estate on the blockchain, working with government agencies and stuff. So I guess the question really boils down to how government agencies are going to work, how they're going to allow blockchain to kind of like democratize real estate for the individuals, get people of the lower levels to participate in this new economy. It's because there's a huge economy out there that's not participating in the traditional economy. So how are we going to use blockchain as a way to get these people to have this ownership, to create this, be part of this value chain and really amplify? So I think to me, that's where the question lies.
And the answer to that is pretty simple. Government should not be involved. It should only be peer-to-peer. That is exactly what it is. And some of the Bitcoin maximalists, they often say the best thing what governments can do regarding Bitcoin adoption is to completely leave it, not get involved at all.
Yeah.
Let it be completely organic.
That part with the maxis, I do agree.
Yeah.
I will agree with you guys. That part I will go along with it. But again, the question is, I don't know how the regulators, how open they are to that idea. I would say there's a way for the regulators to get involved, maybe after the secondary markets, in some form or the other. But
see, I think that would be challenging, because let's say, Markose, if I buy a tokenized token which says that I have 1 feet of, let's say, real estate, or let's say a part of a car or anything, and if I want to go ahead and send it, or if I want to go ahead and sell it at a secondary market, what if the person who is buying it is from a country living in one of the sanctioned countries? So will I be able to go ahead and make the transaction? So I really am not sure. Now, regarding tokenization, the first use case was actually by Emirates NBD Bank. I'm not sure if our listeners are aware about it. In 2017, this was before the prices in ICO era. Emirates NBD Bank, they did have an Ethereum share certificate issued on open blockchain. they wanted to check, if it is worthwhile doing it, and they decided that it is not worthwhile issuing it in the open blockchain. And it was the buyer, actually, if I'm not mistaken, was from India. So they just tried to issue one share which is open on an open blockchain. So maybe our listeners should go ahead and Google it and get the public address and see what is happening with that. Maybe you can go ahead and release that as an NFT. And, that could be different. Now, also there's a very tiny difference between tokenization, so far security token offering is concerned, and NFTs. NFTs are kind of unique. It is ideally, let's say if you have followers, and you can go ahead and add a couple of utilities on NFTs as well. But let's see how the whole narrative regarding tokenization builds in. Another thing which I wanted to add regarding tokenization, Markose, and this is keeping in mind Metaverse. Now, in the Metaverse, there was one property, which was, I believe, in London. What they tried to do is, Markose, one property, they tried to sell it to two separate sellers. So the one was sold in a physical form, and the second one, the same property, was sold in the Metaverse. Now, will that thing get mainstream adoption? I really am not sure. So you could potentially see, let's say in a decade's time, that you have one property, but you're essentially selling it to two sellers. It could be possible that it could be just one seller, but you can sell one property, let's say in the physical world with, let's say, cryptocurrencies, but in the Metaverse, sell it to two with a different user. I'm not sure if that would, why would you want to sell it to two separate users? But the second user, what he can do is he can go ahead and add a lot of avatars in the Metaverse. He can go ahead and add a lot of virtual things. So let's say, Markose, if I have a house in Burj Khalifa, I could sell it to you for, let's say, 2 million dirhams. But to a second user, I can sell the same property, put it on the Metaverse, and I could make, let's say, maybe 2 million or maybe even more than that. Now, what that second user can do is he can go and tweak that room virtually, and people are crazy enough to spend a lot of money for that. So,
I got to add this because I just, again, personally for me, it makes sense, like for the Metaverse property and the physical property to be under one person.
Yes.
Speaking as a simpleton right now, so like, because to me that would kind of make sense that have a two separate thing, because in my mind, like, why would the Metaverse thing be under somebody else, or why would someone again, this is praxeology, like why would someone spend a lot of money for that Metaverse project unless it's just some sort, either one is some form of crypto degeneracy, I guess.
Exactly, yeah.
Or second would be, is it some, or I know this is where the regulators, if you're like thinking put a regulator hat on, it's like, wait a minute, this sounds like some form of this arch world tax evasion tactic or money laundering system. Yeah. So I'm just like, oh, hold on, wait a minute. So it's just going to raise a lot of questions. So that part I don't, unless say for example, feel like Decentraland or Mana Land or whatever, where you are creating kind of like a replicatable world or something, which is part of a bigger vision or something. Okay, I could see that work, I guess. But most of the Metaverse projects, as far as I have come across, again, let me just say that I'll limited stuff. So I'm open to people correcting me. I mean, if it's like a small project or something, I just don't. The novelty is not that valuable. It's not that novel. So I just don't.
You're absolutely spot on, because I 100% agree to it. The only thing I can think of is, let's say, a penthouse in Burj Khalifa, and there is just one room. I sell it to you for dirhams, and I sell the second one. Now, the reason why people would buy, you absolutely hit the nail. You said degenerates. The Nike NFT shoes or virtual shoe cost probably 100 times more, probably 1,000 times more in the virtual world. Some of the shoes are sold for $100,000 plus, and they don't exist in real life. So, there are a couple of degenerates. Will that thing happen? I really am not sure. But, if that thing happens, there is a possibility that, we can have two of everything. And even Dubai municipality, they are working on, I think it is called as Twin City, isn't it? where they want to replicate the entire city of Dubai in Metaverse.
Yeah, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, just for people who are new, who are watching this, right, and they're not familiar with Dubai, correct me if I'm wrong, does Dubai have a Metaverse strategy?
Yes, Dubai has a Dubai Metaverse strategy, which was released by Sheikh Hamdan.
Just talk about that a little bit, just for the new folks out there, so they're kind of like aware. Hey, look, there's a blockchain strategy and there's also a Metaverse strategy too. So
yeah, so what our listeners can do is I do have a standalone episode explaining everything about the Dubai Metaverse strategy. So Sheikh Hamdan did actually tweet it at 11 p.m. at night that he's releasing a Dubai Metaverse strategy. So please follow him on Twitter.
Nice.
And that tweet actually outlines what the future of Dubai Metaverse strategy is. And one of the goals of Sheikh Hamdan is for Dubai to be the top 10 cities in the entire world so far as Metaverse is concerned. And they have something called as Dubai Metaverse Assembly, where it is, essentially a lot of the thought leaders in the Metaverse space. They go and direct the future of, Metaverse. And Dubai government, especially Dubai municipality, they already have a couple of projects in the Metaverse. Dubai Court, I'm not sure, Markose, if there are court hearings which are taking place in the Metaverse. Now look, it is just a virtual space like how we are doing. But eventually what would happen is, rather than going, to the Dubai Court, you can actually be in a Metaverse and all the court decision will actually take place in the Metaverse. This is already live, by the way, so what our listeners can do is, Dubai Code, I think some of the policies already taking place in the Metaverse. Now,
I just want to interject. When you shared about kind of like the virtual code kind of thing, just for the folks out there, I'm sure some of you have been through, I guess, the lockdown situation.
Yeah,
and there was this kind of like a court session in the United States where one of the lawyers, I think his kid was using it previously, and kind of like, how do you say, use a cat avatar.
Yeah.
So the lawyer had to say, like, just to let you know, I'm not a cat. So that was kind of hilarious, but it became a meme, right? So that was funny. So I guess, George, I got to ask you, like, so, are we allowed to have, say, for example, can I put a cat avatar, or can I say, for example, my cat Satoshi?
I don't see why not. I definitely do think so. Yes, you can, as long as you can verify that you're the person who's talking about it. I've also sent you the link, Markose. Maybe you can put up that link in the chat, in the private chat. I put the link about Dubai Land and Government, which is by Dubai Land Department. Did you see that link, Markose, in that chat?
Wait, did you say right now?
Yeah.
No, wait, hold up. I could be.
In the StreamYards chat.
Oh, StreamYard. Oh, sorry. I was looking at Telegram. Never mind. So I got too many.
This is
the big ass screen. So
the Dubai government of Dubai, they have the rental dispute center.
Sweet. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. So this happened last year in October 17, 2023. Yeah. This is about the Dubai. Okay. Well, I think, folks, let me see if I can. Hold on. Let me see if I can. Okay. Let me just quickly share this. Let me see if we can do this. Share screen. Share screen. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. How do you do this? George, can you just confirm that
I can definitely see the
I'm
screen.
showing the screen?
Yeah,
you can do. Oh, okay, fantastic. Thank you. All right, so guys, what you're looking right here on us, or what we're sharing on our screen, is from the DubaiLand.gov.ae. It's from their media section side where they're talking about the comprehensive digital initiative of the Dubai Lands Department. So they're launching a metaverse litigation. So this is their breakthrough virtual platform to use the metaverse technology for real estate litigation sessions. So it's just their unique and a very distinctive way of solving rental disputes, right? So I guess if, some of our folks who have been in Dubai for quite a long time, I'm sure you guys are familiar where if you're trying to solve a government problem, say like a rental problem or some other issue, many of us have been through a situation where we had to go to like different places, different offices all over the place, where sometimes some of the government employees would give us like the runaround, so here actually is really good because instead of, wasting time and going through this bad experience, here the government agency, the Dubai Lands Department, is offering a smooth, I would say, a kind of like a good experience for people to solve their problem by going directly to the right person in a virtual setting to solve an actual problem. So definitely, I'm assuming it's not just a metaverse thing, but they're also using AI too as part of their service stack. So interesting. But yeah.
And there is
But George, I mean, is there anything else we need to cover in this from
No,
this?
I think we are pretty much done with most of the metaverse related things, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, just your thoughts on this because
I do feel, Marcus, what I do feel is metaverse is at least 7 to 10 years of mainstream adoption. How it would realistically work is, Marcus, I would be putting, let's say, something similar to sunglasses. And that will be able to capture all the 5 senses. So while I'm sitting at home, I will be able to meet someone in the Dubai Land Department. They will be able to capture all of my 5 senses. That is the true use case of metaverse. So we are talking about, augmented reality, mixed reality, and it will be realistic. What our listeners can do is, and I've mentioned this thing when Becca was live as well, that if you go to YouTube, try to look at Lex Friedman's interview with Mark Zuckerberg. And, they are miles apart, but you couldn't tell the difference that the person is sitting right in front of you. That is the use case of metaverse. We still need quite a lot of time for that, maybe 7 to 10 years. So it could be possible, Marcus, that when we're talking right now, I could literally see your room. I could possibly see your 2 cats. Will I be able to touch the 2 cats? Maybe that is possible too. That is the true use case of metaverse. But we are still far away from mainstream adoption.
Okay. I guess maybe I'm a little bit optimistic about that. Maybe say 5 years or something. And just again, this is just a guesstimation, I guess. But I just going through this document, this initiative they have, I could see this as become a full-fledged platform, not only just for the Lands Department, but this could also connect to RTA or maybe some other departments too, where they could kind of automate the process and also help settle this rental dispute kind of stuff and anything else. But plus also too, Dubai's already have this kind of one of those smart police stations. So think of a smart court or smart judge service that let's take for example, because we have 80% of the population are expats. So one of the main issues would be the legal rights issues for employees. So I could see that take place where you have a smart judge service offering legal advice, informing the people of their legal rights in the country. Because I have been me and maybe some other people who I had with my previous employers back in the old days, where I thank goodness I knew my legal rights. I was able to go to the Dubai court, inform them about my situation. It was digitized, bam, bam. The judge approved it electronically. I took the document. I had to take the document to the police at the Burj police station.
I see.
They recognized it and they called the guys and, but I would hand it to them that, in terms of the service of the Dubai police was fantastic. They told those guys, that, hey, he has the judge order and if you don't, you will end up with a problem. So rectify this, giving them a chance, which I thought was okay, kind of fair, I guess, but personally for me, I wanted to lack of a better word, F up their happiness. But I thought, okay, you know what? I love the process, how they went through. If they didn't go through it, then the Dubai police would go there and actually arrest one of the guys. So, which will also lead to a 20,000 dirham fine for that particular company. So yeah, I think I could see this actually as a really great experience for folks to go through a digital experience where they get to understand the legal rights, whether they're working as an employee or whether they're like a company. And especially for employees, I could see that work out well, because again, like the Ministry of Human Resource and Amortization, they've been working really hard to showcase, hey, look, that we are here to protect your rights. Because I remember like many Indians over here, they come across like, oh, we don't have much rights over here, yada yada yada. That's not the case. There are companies out there, they still abuse their other employees' rights, but the government is trying their best to inform, hey, this is your right. This is what you can do. So, but it's your initiative to fight for it. So we have the hotlines, we have the info. They're there to help you out, and they have people also to translate too. If you don't speak English, they got Arabic, they got Hindi, they got Bengali, you name it. Like they try their best to like help people out. So yeah, because I've been through that situation. So yeah, so I just want to share that out there. So I could see this not only does a rental dispute center work out, but a smart judge initiative, man, bro.
That is definitely possible. And Dubai Metaverse Strategy, they did have an event as well at the Museum of the Future. So I do have an interview with Richa Patel. She was the one, had probably the first and the biggest event regarding Metaverse, probably the entire world. And regarding Metaverse, Markose, a lot of the US military, they're already using it. And these are, replicating the battle scenario. And surprisingly, the replication, if you were to compare it in terms of percentage, it is fairly close to 99%. So, some of them have actually said that, actually training in the Metaverse, they did not even realize that they were doing it, sitting inside their home. Now, what I would recommend, and this might be a bit digressing, is there is an interview of Joe Rogan, and I'll send you the link as well. Definitely be free to go and listen to it, because it is a guy called Rizwan Work, who's one of the OGs in gaming. He's a pioneer so far as gaming is concerned. What he actually said, Mark, was that while he was actually playing the game, he did not realize that, he was playing the game. He actually felt that he was actually living it. And then he goes and talks about, are we living in simulation as well? But definitely a really, really interesting episode. Our listeners should definitely check it out. And also go to YouTube and check out an interview with Mark Zuckerberg and Lex Friedman. That is probably the best use case of Metaverse. Unfortunately, from YouTube, we can't go and, experience the whole use case of Metaverse, but you can see Lex Friedman, how he's excited about, being in the Metaverse. So those were some news regarding Metaverse. Now let's talk about the crypto queen, Markose. I'm not sure if a lot of listeners don't know who the crypto queen is. She actually,
take us to memory lane, my friend. Take us to memory lane.
Investors.
George, take me back to 2016, bro.
This is going back to 2014 actually, because she actually did.
Oh, 14. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she did actually steal people, and she defrauded people for $4 billion. Something similar to EOS. But what she did was, she was promoting something called as OneCoin. What is crazy is the OneCoin did not exist. The blockchain did not exist. And if you actually go through some of the old YouTube videos, it's absolutely bizarre that people were actually falling for it. Now, she has defrauded people for $4 billion. Now, there is a very high chance that she might be in Dubai. So if any of the listeners can identify who she is, you can actually profit by $5 million, because the US State Department, they put out a bounty of $5 million if you can identify who the crypto queen is. Now, the reason why crypto queen did actually become popular is because of a documentary which was done by BBC, I believe in 2016 or 17. And that is one of the reasons how people did actually find out about her. So, you can also check out the documentary about the crypto queen. She's a Russian citizen. Her brother was also involved with it, but he was arrested, I think, in Bulgaria, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, because I thought she was Bulgarian or something, but she's actually Russian. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, her brother, well, they were arrested in Bulgaria. Now there are
In
rumors that
Bulgaria.
she has purchased a really expensive yacht, and she's in international waters. That's one of the reasons why people can't go out and arrest her. She could have possibly done facial surgery as well. So if any of the listeners are on Tinder, may as well want to check, if you're trying to date any Russian person, if they've done any facial surgery. $4 billion is a
I
lot
just
of
want to
money,
give
isn't
a
it?
shout. I just want to give a kind of like not a shout out to the State Department, but 5 million is not enough. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
We
true.
need to up the ante. I'm talking about say like 20 million.
Yeah,
Look, the reason I say that, okay, here's my reasoning because first off, my guys at the State Department, inflation's kicking in. All right. We got the Trump inflation going in. We got the Biden inflation, which is like amplifying a whole nother level. So, like 20 million about, should be the price for this lady right here, right? You're talking about like a, a $4 billion, scam, which is crazy. And also at that time too, I do recall that, like MLM was at its almost at its golden age. So that was the time they were like really working that thing out. It was sort of like a networking, MLM kind of model. So it was at
yeah,
its, peak. So kudos to her for timing that out, by the way. I mean, man, I like seriously. So they really worked that out. I mean, because I know they were spending a lot of money on events and stuff, which was crazy. So, I mean, I'm blown away how they really did that marketing quite well. So, I mean, for all the marketers out there, there's a lot to learn from this lady, how they played it out, to
yeah,
be honest. Because they definitely used some human psychology. They definitely used, um, different psychological tricks and maneuvers, how to influence people and persuade people to join the bandwagon and create that FOMO, which is quite intense because I heard about it, but I was just like nah. But a lot of people fell for it, and again, it's other people should take some responsibility too because it was too good to be true,
yeah,
and they are not asking all the tough questions about the blockchain, or just trying to have a brief understanding how does that thing work.
yeah,
You don't need to be what do you say, a rocket scientist or whatever to figure that out, but as a regular human being, you have the ability to question things, right? So yeah, so the folks at the U.S. State Department, 20 million and about, your boy Marcus will go out here. I'm here in Dubai, man. So you need some strong incentive. We will work it out. Me, my boy George, and maybe we need like just seven, just seven people to join forces. You know what? Let's do this. Look. You know what? Let's work out. Not search in Dubai, but the whole MENA, bro. The whole MENA.
yeah.
20 million is good, man.
I mean, it
Just
could be
saying.
possibility, she might have left Dubai and other countries. So that's also a very high possibility, isn't it? Now you mentioned something really important about persuasion, Marcus, and that is an absolutely brilliant point because the BBC documentary actually talks about, how it is really difficult to persuade someone that they have been scammed because they will always say, no, I've not been scammed. So, that is exactly what the documentary touches upon as well. So, the conviction is
Yeah,
so strong that, no, what I've done is right, that people are not willing to let go that they're being scammed. So these are things, we need
yeah.
to aware about. So,
I would just want to add this, like, because I have repeated like in the last our last live stream. If anyone's going into marketing, don't go for a marketing degree. Get yourself a psychology
yeah,
degree. Like because uh, and also study also praxeology, which is this study on the economic understanding of human actions and stuff. Get into that because that is something um, is actually quite valuable. You will definitely learn things much better than just getting yourself a business degree. because man, understanding human psychology, how that plays, and also I don't know, I would also go more on a crazy fringe kind of deal, like I know, study like some of these dating games from all these how do you call these day game experts and stuff, because that requires a lot of persuasion, man, and also group psychology, and especially crowd psychology. One is learned from Martin Luther King. He was an expert on crowd psychology. Edward Bernays, who's the nephew of Sigmund Freud, he wrote the book on propaganda, and he renamed it from propaganda to public relations. So if you want to learn about, because one of the top entities that use crowd psychology was the U.S. government.
Yes.
Which is so true. I mean, there are like CIA files and all like on this kind of stuff. It's there. It's an open secret. So, actually, I would need to like refresh on some of that stuff, because I remember like when I was at my university time, I was looking into that stuff. It was kind of crazy. It was hard to, because it was, I think that time it was difficult for me to transition from traditional education into the conspiracy side of things. But once you break through all that stuff, and you have that open mind, man, some of the stuff is quite intense. I'm like, wow. So, anyway, sorry, I apologies for going in that route, but
no,
I just want to share that out there so that people could actually like think.
No, I think what you're saying is absolutely spot on. And just to digress as well, I follow US politics quite a lot, and I'm a huge fan of President Donald Trump. If you actually listen to his speeches are very simple to understand. So rather than talking about inflation, he would talk about someone going to a store and buying, let's say, bread or filling gasoline, which is something, an average individual can understand. At the same time, I'm also a fan of Vivek Ramaswamy. I mean, I'm not sure if you've heard his speeches. He would use, like the ChatGPT script using AI, the same topic, but the way he explains is completely complex and difficult to understand. So, these definitely play into so far as convincing people is concerned. And both of them are massive advocates of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Now, we're almost towards the end, Marcus. I wanted to touch base on stable coins now this week. There's quite a lot of news regarding stable coins. The first one is regarding MiCA regulations and Circle. It is the first licensed stablecoin under MiCA regulations. And last week we talked about Bitstamp. They actually decided to drop Tether USDT. That is because of MiCA regulations. Now, me personally, Marcus, I'm not a fan of regulations. But when it comes to stable coins, I've said this thing zillion times. They are for replacing the role of a bank. So for stable coins, I do think that MiCA regulations are spot on. If given a choice, let's say between Tether USDT and Circle USDC, I would always pick Circle USDC. Because, Tether USDT, I really am not sure what the audit report is, but so far Circle USDC is concerned, they are following the rules and regulations, which does not fit well with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, but so far stablecoins is concerned, I do think that they are doing a right move. Now, it's going to be really interesting to see what the adoption in Europe is. I would say 100% of, let's say the retail adopters, they can immediately go ahead and start accepting USDC for regular purchases as opposed to, let's say, Tether USDT. That is my thoughts.
Yeah. I know. I was just thinking from I don't know about the exchanges in Europe, but other exchanges just wouldn't be able to. I could be absolutely wrong, but I don't think they can afford to drop Tether because there's a whole new market out there. Like even with the regulations and stuff too, like I don't think they will be able to drop Tether because they were the first ones to like tokenize, I guess, the US dollar, right? So and they were kind of early at that time because when they started it, I remember like most of the exchanges didn't really care about it because they only have like these payment rails, payment partners and stuff. But once they started to sort of like, I guess there was sort of like a brief time of losing some of those payment partners or whatever. Yeah. So, Tether was actually maybe like 2 years ahead of their time
Correct.
when it comes to this stuff. As far as that's my viewpoint. And from then on, it started becoming quite interesting. And obviously, it was a good move to do it on Ethereum, which makes sense. And you're right. I would say that Ethereum was meant for tokenization, and I would say also Larry Fink too, because these companies or whatever, they wouldn't care about honestly transaction fees and stuff. What they care about is the security side of things. They can make money on other vectors or whatever, just to loosely use it. So, but I would have to give props to the folks from Tron.
Yes.
For making it really cheap, and also I believe they were subsidizing it too. And guess what? 40% of Tether is what on Tron, right? If I'm wrong, please correct me.
You're probably correct. Yeah, the Tron blockchain.
Again, I think this is where personally for me, I'm a little bit frustrated because, going again, just to go a little bit tangent to talk about Bitcoin. This is why I do support Bitcoin Cash and BSV. Reason is that Bitcoin is supposed to be this medium of exchange, but now we're in the present. Tether is the medium of exchange.
True.
Because it is faster, easy, and reliable, and we need for commerce. I wish it was Bitcoin really. Not a big fan of hodling Bitcoin or whatever. But sorry to take you on another tangent. I just saw this article on Cointelegraph where there's an article talking about taxing the Bitcoin hodlers. So, which is I saw it on Twitter, so I have to apologize, but I will share with you after the show. But they're talking about tax. I'm like, all right, Bitcoin maxis, what are you going to do about it? So, but anyways, just want to throw that out there. But now let me take you back to just the idea of Tether and with the MiCA regulations. I think it's going to be, just to go back, it's going to be tough one for exchanges to drop Tether. It's just because, I'm sorry, they cannot afford to lose it. Here's the thing where the governments come in. You guys got to provide some really strong incentive. I mean, yeah, you can use the hammer, use threat. Okay, fine. They will take a beating. You're just going to push all that activity into the darknet. You're going to push all that activity to the DEXs.
Yeah.
Self-custody will become much more stronger and stuff. So,
and that is precisely the reason why, decentralized exchanges should be used. So imagine a world where a lot of decentralized exchanges are being used. Now, regarding the Circle USDC news, what I think Markose is because they are approved by MiCA, they can forget about exchanges. They can go to retail outlets. Let's say something similar to, let's say, you have Alibaba or something similar to that, let's say in Europe, and they can say, hey, you know what? Why don't you coordinate USDC onto your payment platform so users can go ahead and pay in Circle USDC? And that is what the goal of USDC is.
My apologies. This would kind of relate to some of my people here in Dubai too. Man, I could see my uncles and aunts too. I mean, some of them, they have their own businesses and stuff. I think they would accept USDC just because, okay, it's easy and convenient, and I could do business and stuff. I don't. I mean, they understand my ideological thing with Monero and Bitcoin and stuff. But in terms of business, hey, look, you know what? It's less headache. I don't have to deal with the fools at these local banks and Western Union, all that stuff. I could make my payments to some of the guys in China, get my goods and stuff. So, because they got families to feed and stuff. So that's what they care about, and they also, owe me a birthday gift too. So, you know what? USDC would make would make a lot of sense in terms of not dealing with the regulatory headaches and stuff. So, I think this is where I have to remind some of the regulators too, I think it's important for some of these guys to have some business experience because I don't think most of them have started their own businesses and stuff. So this is where I feel they're kind of out of touch. They need to have kind of a town hall meetings with the shopkeepers, the restaurant owners, freelancers out there. Hey, like, how could we make your life better? You guys need to have that. Don't sit in your fancy offices in DIFC and all that stuff. Like, man, sit in the shops like who are having these Vandaram chais. Have those town hall conversations. Honestly, you're going to win more points. You're going to win more social points. You're going to like actually really put Dubai on the map. To be honest, that's I've been trying to say this, but I know that's something I want to say. So
Yeah.
I think if USDC wants to really beat Tether, I think start some guerrilla tactics, some guerrilla marketing on the local level.
And that is bringing me to the next point, Marcus, regarding Binance BUSD. There's a recent news that has been out that the judge is actually favoring Binance, and they are saying that SEC has overstepped the regulation. Now, for our listeners, you should know that Binance used to have a stablecoin that called as Binance BUSD.
Yep.
And, I tend to look at, the stablecoin volume on a daily basis, and trust me, guys, the volume of BUSD used to be almost triple of Circle USDC's volume. And I feel, Marcus, and this is my conspiracy, I do feel that the only reason why the regulators have gone after Binance and Binance BUSD is because of the whole debacle between FTX and Binance BUSD. And Circle could be the one who might be providing information to the regulators, because Binance did have an issue, I believe it was in one of the European countries, and it was Circle USDC who did actually provide information. Now, why Circle had to do that? His answer is pretty simple: because they were competing with Circle USDC. I do remember of a very specific instance, I believe, which did actually happen in India, because Binance used to operate in India, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah,
so
that's
what
true.
Binance did, Binance tried to convert a lot of the USDC onto BUSD, which would mean that customers will be using more of Binance BUSD and not using Circle USDC. So the competition did actually start. And it might be one of the only cases which has not been talked about, where roughly around $15 billion worth of Binance BUSD has completely stopped operating, because Binance BUSD's market cap was $15 billion.
Yeah.
So, it was quite a lot, and it was growing. And that time I remember Circle USDC's market cap was less than even $12 billion. Now Circle USDC's market cap has pumped up to $30 billion. So, the war between stablecoins is definitely there. Now, regarding stablecoins and regulators, Marcus, I should have mentioned this earlier as well. There's a lot of incorrect news circulating on LinkedIn that the Central Bank of UAE is not allowing crypto payments in UAE. It is 100% fake news. So what I'd recommend listeners to do is, go ahead and listen to the official document, because all that government is stating is that if, let's say, you're using or issuers, or rather offering services that are connected to cryptocurrencies, you need to have certain banking regulations in place. You need to have certain documentations, and if you read through the documentations, it is actually protecting investors and customers. And what I'll be doing is, Marcus, probably next week, I will release a standalone episode explaining what the entire document is, because it also touches base on stablecoins. Because what the document states is that you can't use stablecoins for regular purchases, but you can use it for digital services. And it also goes and explains what are the digital services.
Oh, okay.
I would like to assume that.
Okay. So, all right, let's break it down for simpletons like me. So, say for example, I go on Dubizzle and I find this cheap car or something. Oh, you know what? What if I need transport to, go around Dubai because it's hot. I don't want to use a metro and all that stuff. So I try to get something from Dubizzle, and I offer, hey, you know what? I got some USDC and USDT. I want to buy your car using that. Would you be interested? So in this scenario, is it allowed or not?
Because it is not a digital product, it is a physical product, isn't it? I don't think so. But let's say if you offer consultation like Zoom session, we offering a digital services in it, then it should be fine.
Okay, so say for example, I'm offering, I don't know, my
or NFTs for that
master
matter.
of ceremony, or my master of ceremony services or marketing services,
It doesn't
is
become
that
digital, isn't it? It is not digital. So the
this
answer
is
to that would be no.
okay. So what about like I'm offering courses and stuff
Online?
like digitally?
Yeah, then it should be fine.
Online.
Then it should be perfectly fine. If it is digital, then it should be perfectly fine. And it's pretty simple, isn't it? So whatever you're doing digital, go ahead and use digital money.
But like if it's like like consultation, all that stuff, wouldn't that be sort of like digital in the sense like
But
I'm offering consultation service?
What if you have a consultation where you're giving physical paper? Let's say an architectural consultation. You can do architectural consultation online when you're showing graphs and charts. That's fine. But let's say if you're giving something physical only, then I don't think so. You can use stable coins. You can use stable coins, but you can use stable coins that are backed by UAE dirham.
Okay. Yeah, which obviously there's none.
Oh, there's already works in place for, I think Paxos. They've already moved to Dubai, isn't it? So they already,
really? Okay. I got you. Because as far as my understanding, I haven't seen any. Because I haven't seen any dirham denominated token or something like that. So
there is one, Marcus. I'm trying to recollect. I tried to cover that news. So what they were trying to do is they were trying to issue, a stable coin in dirhams, but it wasn't a massive entity and the amount was ridiculously low as well. Now, Paxos, I remember, they were planning to move to Dubai, and I'm not sure if they've already opened the office in Dubai, so I'm pretty much sure there will be some news coming up regarding stable coins which will be connected to UAE dirhams, which I think is great. That is something. And we've also mentioned this, I'd really like to see a UAE government merging with, let's say, a private company and then issuing a stable coin.
Right. I know we talked about it like even beginning of this year, right?
It'll be an absolute game changer. I don't know. I do think that the UAE government can also go and compete directly with Tether USDT. Or maybe even the
okay, but I guess. No, sorry. I'm just want to take a few steps back before we jump into the dirham thing, because I think this mental exercise is kind of good. Because I was just thinking about if you're like a architect or something like that, like you provide the digital copies or whatever, but it's up to the other person to print out the thing. So that kind of sidesteps the. I know it's like legally, right? It's potato.
Yeah, but based on what you're doing is you're offering a digital service, isn't it? What the other person does by that's none of. So I think it'll be considered fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of. I know that's just kind of like a mental exercise. But anyway, okay. I'm done with that. I just thought I was just super curious about it. But in terms of because for months, we both have been talking, especially you've been talking about, like the UAE government partnering with a private blockchain company to create kind of like a dirham stable, or kind of like some sort of like a stable coin, because they do have a lot of sovereign wealth, which brings back to one of our previous conversations of Enbridge.
Yes.
Right. Now, I think now this Enbridge thing is coming into play. So, and what are your thoughts on that, man? I think
both can work simultaneously. When we talk about Enbridge, Marcus, it is one type of CBDC. That is, Enbridge will mostly be used for international transactions. So there are three different types of CBDCs. Enbridge is only for international settlement, rather. Let's say if I want to send...
so there's kind of like a coalition between the central banks of the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Thailand, and maybe some other parts payment companies and stuff. So
South Africa also.
Yes, right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they came into the Embrace thing. So
they would use, let's say, for international settlement, there will be two more different types of CBDCs. One is wholesale CBDC. That would be used, let's say, just by banks. The Mashreq Bank talking to, let's say, Emirates and BD Bank. They will be using a wholesale CBDC. But let's say for regular purchases, we will be using something called as retail CBDC. So if I want to go ahead and send you, let's say, some money, rather than sending dirham, I'll go ahead and send you different types of CBDC. Now, I've also sent you a link Markose of a stablecoin, which is actually issued by dirhams, and it is called as DRAM. So it's D for David, R for Roger, M for Mother. And this was issued by a firm in Abu Dhabi, and it is working on ERC20 blockchain. but the amount
All right,
of
hold
that
on.
is
Let me
ridiculously less.
just give me a moment. I would want to share this just so that people know
Now, I
that
don't
this
know
thing
if this
exists
is
because this is
regulated.
fascinating.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is regulated by Abu Dhabi Global Market, but in a nutshell, let's say if this is approved by Abu Dhabi Global Market, then we can go ahead and use this for, let's say, buying a car, like you mentioned the example that you gave. Let's say you saw a car in Dubizzle. Rather than using Circle USDC or Tether USDT, you can probably go ahead and use DRAM, provided it is approved by Abu Dhabi Global Market. I'm not sure if it is approved by Abu Dhabi Global Market or not. I did actually cover this in my Crypto and Coffee Date podcast. If I'm not mistaken, the valuation is very, very less. I'm not sure. I need to probably go ahead and listen to my own episode to know what is the amount. Okay,
I mean, this is an old. Okay, this is quite an. Okay, this is like last year. Okay,
yeah. 2.5
but I guess in terms of the research company, Distributed Technologies Research, DTR. I mean, they've been working on it for quite some time. So,
I see. If you look at the market cap, I think it is only 2.5 million there. I'm not sure if that is the market cap, which is ridiculously less, isn't it?
Yeah, it is less. So I don't think there has been much going on. But again, it's as far as I understand, it's on Uniswap and PancakeSwap, and they're on 3 chains as far as the website says: Ethereum, BNB, and Arbitrum, which is interesting. I mean, that would kind of make sense, I guess. So. But apparently, the Cointelegraph did a background check to uncover the previous launch of DTR in Switzerland 4 years ago. So they went on and developed a decentralized payment system called Unit E. They're also connected with SoftBank, which is interesting. Okay. As it stands, DTR cannot offer DRAM in Hong Kong or the United Arab Emirates, but Chentittha indicates that conversations are ongoing to provide token liquidity for listing on centralized exchanges outside of the 2 jurisdictions. Again, this is like October 2023. So, So I'm just looking. Okay, here I'm just. I'm showing just the Ether scan. Max supply. There's 2 million 1 DRAM.
Yeah.
The on-chain market cap.
The volume is ridiculously less, isn't it?
No, but there's nothing much going on, to be honest, because the last transaction hash was 148 days ago.
So maybe it is not approved by Abu Dhabi Global Market as well, because I'm not seeing any news regarding it.
I doubt it.
Approved by Abu Dhabi Global Market. Yeah. But again, if there is a private company which merges with the UAE government, they can go ahead and launch, one of these stable coins. I think it will be an absolute game changer. And it can coexist with central bank digital currency perfectly well.
Because at least from the retail level, it would make sense.
Yeah.
Because I know I have to find that diagram, the diagram of this M-Bridge. Let me see. Because there was this professor from Australia. He was on this show by this lady. I forgot her name, but I thought it was really fascinating. I mean, just for the folks out there, if you guys are familiar with the SWIFT system, right? Basically, the SWIFT system is just a glorified messaging system, right? So I mean, just to oversimplify things. So similarly with the M-Bridge, it's a particular messaging system between the central banks of these different, I would say, not different, but participating countries. UAE, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, which George has mentioned. I believe also Malaysia is also involved in it, and many others. So it's between the central banks, and then outside of it, they have their own respective retail banks. So I could see some of these dirham participating within that vector. But then, hey, if, say, for example, if George wants to send some money to Donald Trump's camp, it'll, well, okay, that's a U.S. thing, but that's a whole, let's use, say, some of our friends in Malaysia. So, that retail money will go to the central bank. The central bank will approve it because they are participating in that system to the Malaysian central bank, and wham bam. So it doesn't have to go through the Swift banking system. So that's what it is. So yeah, I mean, the use case is simple, but in terms of the data architecture and stuff, it is quite complex. But it'll help with creating trust. It's really about creating trust and easing the process of moving value through the internet protocols.
Yeah. And this is where Bitcoin or cryptocurrency kicks in, isn't it? You can do it peer-to-peer without eliminating absolutely everyone in between. So I think, a lot of people are still in the cryptocurrency space. You need to understand that when you talk about transactions in cryptocurrency, it has to be peer-to-peer. Also tokenization, it has to be developer directly to the seller. The seller can then resell it, seller to seller. There should not be any middle person. That is a use case of blockchain technology. Now, there are a couple of challenges, and hopefully, we'll be able to solve some of those challenges. And I think that's about all, Marcus. We have covered pretty much everything in today's episode, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah, I thought we covered everything. Yeah, we have covered everything from, first off, to all our friends in America, happy 4th of July, guns, Bible, and freedom, all that good jazz. We covered about the IMF. Definitely, the Solana ETF has been quite interesting. Yes, definitely, we had to cover our friends from the SEC, and also for our friends at ConsenSys. And glad we had this conversation of tokenization. I think that's definitely it is an interesting topic. But definitely in the coming months, or definitely for next year, it will be a hot topic, just because that we will see a lot of companies are pushing that narrative because they want to create a use case. And congratulations to the folks from the USDC, complying with MiCA and all that stuff. So that'll be interesting. I'm still a little bit worried about exchanges trying to drop Tether, because that's a tough one right there. So, USDC, I guess USDC would have to come up with some good incentives, good marketing play. And yes, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Circle might have been involved with the Binance drama. So I don't blame him if they did it. I don't blame him. It's part of the whole geopolitical mechanization. Yeah. So enjoy what we can. But in terms of local news, I believe, have we covered some of it?
I think no. Regarding local news, I haven't seen anything which is worthwhile covering, apart from news regarding tokenization, which, to be honest, I'm not convinced with what is going on. People talking about tokenization this particular week. I haven't seen anything special or something, apart from there is news right now that BitOasis, they are merging with the Indian company, but that is also another old news. It isn't something, because I think it was CDC. Yeah, Coin.
Just for the new folks out there, it's CoinDCX, the Indian-based crypto exchange. Yeah. They have bought,
BitOasis.
or I guess bought or invest BitOasis.
Save BitOasis.
But first of all, I just want to say a big shout out to Ola Dudin. She's one of the first people to bring Bitcoin into the light of Dubai. Yeah, I would say here in Sunnyside Dubai. So definitely has been a long journey for her. I do recall trying to get an internship at BitOasis when I came back, but she didn't reply to me. She said, "Hey, can you send in a resume?" But after that, I didn't get any response back. But hey, that was 2015. So, but it's all right. It's all good. Obviously I had no hard feelings. I was trying to, again, it was quite an early times how to, navigate this Bitcoin situation here in Dubai is just unclear, right? So, but that being said, definitely a lot of respect for them. And I think she did organize some events organized this event in the IFC
Yeah,
where they had Bruce Fenton, Everett Voorhees. He used to wear glasses, so I remember that.
there
And
used
I
to
guess,
be.
well, I don't know if it's Roger Ver.
No,
Yeah,
there used
but
to be a series
yeah,
called
but
as Next Money series that used to happen in
okay.
Emirates Tower. It used to happen every Tuesdays. That was, if I'm not mistaken, July 2016, immediately after the halving. And that time the hype was, everyone was talking about centralized exchanges. Like now, how we're talking about the tokenization, there weren't centralized exchanges. So, everyone was talking about. Another topic that used to talk about was TPS, that is transactions per second. I'm not sure if you've heard, Marcus, of a protocol or project called Credits. They were one of the first that started to claim that they were able to have 1 million transactions per second. And that made quite a lot of news. 1 million transactions per second, this is absolutely massive, but the project was a complete failure as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there was some though. Yeah. No, it was interesting. That's quite interesting. I don't know. Kind of got to go through that sort of this memory lane. So yeah. But yeah, I think anyways, I think I don't think I have any other local news to cover. Because I know July is a little bit chill. So
maybe what I'm thinking is, Marcus, we can put a survey in. I like a poll in the LinkedIn post and ask them what is the next ETF they think will be approved. Could it be, let's say, Solana ETF, Dogecoin ETF, and let's see what the listeners have and what is their opinion regarding it, isn't it? Maybe if they have any topic that they want us to cover, they're more than welcome to mention that too.
All right, I think we can do that. We can do that. So, anyways, I think that's it from my side. George, would love for people to find out how they can learn. How can they reach out to you? Listen, check out. Definitely you've been podcasting for quite a long time, covering crypto, blockchain, Web3, and also emerging technologies like AI.
Yeah.
So, how can people reach out to you?
Guys, just drop me an email to unfiltered@blockchaindxb.com. Go to my website, blockchaindxb.com. And I just released an episode at 10 a.m. while we went live via LinkedIn. It talks about, the Bitcoin standard, which is by Dr. Seth the Enormous. So please feel free to go and check it out. We got and discuss, everything regarding the Bitcoin standard. Now, I do want to start a couple of series on episodes focusing only on one niche area. One of them may be tokenization. So if anyone wants to collaborate, maybe have an online or physical event on tokenization. We talked everything about tokenization, how it actually works. So we can look at, what cryptographic techniques you use, how tokenization would work. More than happy to do that as well. So open for absolutely any collaboration. And I work only Monday to Thursdays. So drop me anything you have only Monday to Thursdays. Yeah.
Nicely done. I love that you put boundaries, man. I love that you respect your time. You want to focus in these particular days because George is not only just a podcaster, he's not only just a Bitcoin consultant. He also has other areas of expertise, music and sport and races. So man, just which is good. I think I think most folks in the crypto space should have. I believe that we are multidimensional human beings. We got to experience different activities, and because I guess for me personally, I believe crypto is a multidimensional, multifaceted subject matter, and the way I see it is crypto, blockchain, Web3 based solutions will revolutionize the way we use the internet, information, money, and that's what Society X is all about.
Yes.
And that's what we support guys like you, like really putting some great content and, really amplifying the whole value chain in our present time. So, yeah, man, thank you for your service, sir. So, yeah. Anyway, last words, sir, before we go.
I just hope you have a brilliant weekend, Marcus, and hope you're...
Yeah, I'm looking forward. Yeah, tomorrow I'll be heading to Karama. For first off, keep in touch with my old roots, so to speak. And also just found out that Albake has a big. I believe I don't know what house big of a store it is, but if it's Albake, they do it big. It's a popular fast food chain from Saudi Arabia, super popular. If you have no idea about Albake, recommend you guys to take a trip to Dubai Mall first. Go to the food court, and you will see for yourself how crazy packed that these guys have security too.
Oh,
think about it. They have security. They have it's a long line of people who want this. Think of Outback as the Chick-fil-A of the Middle East, in a sense, right?
Yeah.
Just raving fan. So I'm here to hit two birds with one stone. One is touch roots with my folks in Karama, and also Albeco. There's opening right opposite Burj. So why not? And it's Friday, so got to kick it with my people, and remind myself that crypto is not all about downtown or Dubai Marina or JLT. I mean, there's a lot of regular folks out there in the old side of Dubai, and I think it's a learning moment for folks like us. So yeah, that's why I'm there. And the food is cheap too, so makes sense for me. I'm down for that. Anyways, fam, me and George, we gotta go. So thank you guys for taking the time. You all be good. You all be safe. We will talk to you soon.